Hey, Will.
Yo, Jesse, what's up?
Chilling, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm doing much better than last time.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, I mean, it's cold as shit.
Yeah, dude, do you see that? Did you get that sudden snowstorm? It
Yeah,
was like, dude, that was nuts.
for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'm just happy it's not continuing because I'm flying out tomorrow morning. So
I think you'll be
hopefully I'll be fine.
okay. Yeah.
It's a 7 o'clock flight, so like even if it gets delayed, I'm like not missing anything.
Right. Yeah, I think you'll be okay. Are you
Yeah,
excited? Are you excited for Genesis?
I am. It's like a mix of excitement and like nervousness, which is like really interesting. And there's a few interesting situations that like I've been like exploring and trying to work on and stuff like that I noticed from Hog.
What do you mean?
So, um, I think I got a little nervous at Hog and I psyched myself out. I got 33rd. I lost to Sez, who was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Props to him. Like he beat Nico. He outplayed me. Like, and then I got a little antsy against Artie and like overextended myself too much against him.
Damn,
And
tough losses for 33rd.
yeah, I know it was crazy. But um what's interesting is that I did a lot of money matches afterwards, and like I'm not nervous like in terms of my preparation for Genesis. It's just more getting into like the right mindset as I like go into the tournament, so I don't like overthink it too much like going in, but also like it's a weird mix of calming myself down and like hyping myself up at the same time because I was
Yeah.
killing it in money matches.
You.
Like it was just very clear that like I was a better player and stuff like that. But like in tournament, like I noticed like my heart was pounding a little more. So like I've been exploring that with some books and talking to Drug Fox and stuff like that. So it sort of like is interesting because like granted I was like really nervous against Artie, but then like when you win like I made like $25 at Hog. Like won I won a best of three of best of fives. You get what that mean?
Yeah.
Against Warmer and Swift Base. Then I like had a close set against FMB 5K. Um, Lost to Palika this Dr. Mario twice, and then um, like beat up on uh get a War Machine and Bonfire. Like straight 3-0s on those ones.
Nice.
And I like 3-0'd Warmer in one of the sets I think too. So it was sort of like clearly like it's there. It's just more so like making sure I'm like in the right mindset to be able to like play like that.
Yeah.
Not like even on a consistent basis, but just like working towards that as like a goal.
Right. It's always really hard. And I like what you said before. It's like a weird balance of psyching yourself up and calming yourself down at the same exact time. It's
Yeah.
like it's something I think we always touch on before tournaments is like just trying not to be complacent, but also trying not to want it too much.
Mhm.
And that's if that what that's kind of what it distills down to of like what we actually have control over, because it's hard to really like force your emotions to go anyway. I guess it comes down to what you have control over, which is the hardest part. So I'm curious what types of things you're doing that you could actually like use your use your logic and willpower to make yourself do to give yourself the best like advantage.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a few things. And it's really that I noticed that there was like actual physical difference of when I was playing. Like when I was playing like Artie and stuff like that, I could feel like my heart pounding and stuff like that. And even before Artie, I had a few close calls against like some and like um
You just cut off there. What was that?
yeah, no. So I was saying that like I was just like trying to gather my like thoughts and organize them. But pretty much is that like against Artie and like some of the sets beforehand that were getting closer was that I definitely noticed this physical difference compared to when I was money matching. Like in my money match, like my heart rate was very much the same. Like I didn't really feel my heart pounding, even though I was in like arguably actually like stressor situations because I was playing, very skilled players, right, of the realm of like especially when I was playing like Swift base, um like he would mix me up sometimes, but I was fine with the mix up. I would be like, oh, that's a mix up. Like, all right, like I gotta be careful of that, or I have to factor that in. But like I didn't feel like my heart beating, where like my train of thought sort of disappeared in game, you
Hmm.
know, or that I like was getting baited out too much. Like when I felt I got baited, I was like, I thought he was gonna do something else, or like, oh, okay, that's okay. I'll keep that mix up in my next time, you know, or like, oh man, like he's so cheeky, and like you could say it's like a good mental attitude, but there was a distinct physical difference and not just like an emotional difference in the play.
Right.
And this sort of, and I brought this up with Sammy or Drug Fox, and he actually linked me this really interesting TED talk um, by this professor in the UK, Alan Watkins, and it's titled "Being Brilliant Every Single Day," and he talks about the idea of like performance anxiety, and like I think it's actually interesting because I think I have a good mentality still, but I realize that like in tournament I do have this issue of like how do I psych myself up, how do I prep for it, and then like in tournament how do I make sure to keep that sort of like nervousness in check. And it's really not about, and from doing a lot of meditation and stuff like that, I know it's not something like necessarily that needs to be fixed. Like you're never not going to be nervous, especially in high pressure situations that melee puts you in.
Hmm.
It's more about being able to like accept it and like live with it more than anything else, and it's more so how do I go about doing that, right?
Right.
And there's both like a sort of like spiritual aspect in terms of like meditation and stuff like that, but also clearly there's a physical aspect, right? And so this video that he linked me really delved into the physical aspect of it, right? So when we think of like what we can like control and everything like that, we think about our emotions, right? And he talks about like how there's so many stuff happening like subconsciously, right? Because as your essentially the science behind it is that what happens is your heart rate gets varied while you're playing, and it's like sort of erratic. And as a and that sort of signals like an adrenaline rush, right? Like, oh, you either fight or you run away, right?
Hmm.
Like a fear or fight response. And so what happens is you don't really need your frontal cortex, right? And the frontal cortex handles like a lot of the abstract thinking and a lot of your thought process, right? You don't need to actually really think. You either fight or you either run away, right?
Right.
Not much energy is going into thinking, but the problem is when you're in a fighting game, you have to think, right? And so the issue is then how do you get that sort of back running, like when you're in that sort of situation? So building off of that, he talks about the idea of like you want to control your emotions, right? And then he delves deeper, like what controls emotions. It's how you feel or think, right? And I think watching the video would be better because I don't want to really go into that, but underlying those two is actually your like your actual like physical state, right? And it's about having like a constant and he like talked about it as having a constant like breathing pattern, so it's okay that your heart's beating really fast, but it's not about taking deep breaths, but it's about taking like smooth rhythmic breaths,
Wow. Yeah, I
and it's
guess
about
I guess the
yeah,
trope is to take a deep breath, but that's not natural, so you wouldn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you can take deep breaths and then go back to breathing poorly again, right?
Right.
But it's about changing your breathing so that it's constant. And it's okay if it's beating above average, but it should be you want to try to have it breathe like very much the same. And it's about heart rate variance, right? So you want that variance to be lower. It's not about having a fast or slow heart rate. It's about having that variance be very stable.
Right.
So I guess that's what I'm gonna be trying to practice a lot of the time in Genesis.
So,
Um,
how are you going
yeah,
to keep yourself comfortable? How are you going to make sure that you're not going in with any like extra baggage or any sort of disadvantage that could kind of be prevented? Do you know? Do you have
yeah,
like a game plan going in?
yeah. I have a game plan going in. What's interesting is that I'm in a really interesting situation where Before I really didn't really look at my pools, and I'd be like, oh, I'd play whoever I'll play, right? What's interesting is that I know what my pool is. One, because I think that that strategy isn't like sustainable,
Hmm.
and two, I also think that well, someone just told me it, which is the thing. And what happened was actually that everyone was money matching at Hog, and I was like, oh, Bonfire, like, do you want a money match next? And she goes, actually, you're in my Genesis pool. You're my third seed.
Oh wow.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, wow. And so I was like, like I'm game. Like it's a week apart. Like it's not that hard to find VODs of each other at this point. So I was like, do you still want to play? And she's like, like I don't know if I want to like, you might download. You're a good player. Like I don't want to kind of like leave anything up for the air. And I'm like, all right, I kind of respect that, but like kind of weird too. So I led B, and then like throughout the turn, like throughout the event, like I'm just like sort of like jokingly saying like, oh, are you sure you don't want to like money match or something like that? Right? Like with
Hmm.
no alternative motive besides like, it would be really nice to like play a Sheik, and we've never really played before. Uh, and so eventually she was like, sure, yeah, let's play. So we play, and I actually end up 3-0ing her.
Hmm.
So now it's like I'm in this interesting weird mix of not only am I like knowing who I'm gonna play and what my path is because she's my second seed, but it's also because like now it's now about also not having the expectations of it,
You know, that's I don't like playing people before I play them in tournament either. I definitely understand because it adds this like unnecessary context to the match, and it's easy to get tripped up on it if you win or lose. I mean, maybe you could ride it out and you can kind of um just like keep your advantage. um I don't know. How do you feel? Do you think it's going to be a good thing?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, like the thing is right, it's like sure I like played 3 games against her, but like I don't know whether like halfway through like she was like into it or not into it. Like
Right.
as anyone preps for Genesis, they'll do they'll look at me, I'm assuming, or not look at me, whichever, or like I don't know, right? There's so many uncertainties. I guess the way I'm seeing it is like I'm not letting it get to me. Like one is like it wasn't in a tournament setting, and I know I can be a very different player in tournament versus out of tournament.
Right.
So it's more about for me like less focus on bonfire, but just more focus about like making sure I play well, making sure I'm happy with the play I present, than like really expecting a win or thinking like I have this in the bag or like it as being any indicator of like how the set will go.
Hmm.
Plus, like it's like with a grain of salt. Like we started the match, we were like 3 stocks to 3. She was like a little bit up. Someone accidentally pulled out the cord for the TV game one. So we just restarted 3 stocks to 3 and then played from there. So it's not like it was like halfway through or anything like that. But it still was like a little momentum, like
Right.
icing. So it's sort of hard to really make anything of it. But I think the problem is that I'm more worried that I'll make something of it.
Yeah, I like the way you were describing it before. Just don't overthink. Don't turn it into anything it's not. Just just go into it knowing that anything could happen. I mean, you already have respect for her as a player, which is the most important thing. And now you also know that you have the capabilities to win. And I think that should be the extent of where your mind's at. Is you can lose to a good player, but you already have won. So just kind of keep yourself like 45, 55 or towards the positive of that. Just keep yourself more leaning towards the positive outcome. Um, and just do what you got to do. Do your meditations if you want, or you know, um, I don't know. There's only so much in your control that I'm always just going to say the exact same advice of what to do. But
Mm.
I'm looking forward to seeing how you do. I want- I,
Yeah, I mean,
I think you're going to do
and I
great.
think yeah, and I think like regardless of how things go, even in the tournament, I'm like realizing more and more like minus like needing to work regarding like performance anxiety is that I have improved a lot since last year, right?
Hmm.
And it's just such a stark difference that I think it's more about when as I go into the tournament, like I'm really trying to catch myself, not really thinking about like the way my bracket will go or anything like that, but more so being like um, having like loose game plans about the people I might run into.
Right.
Because I think I can be prepared, and I have sort of like been working a lot on my analysis. So thinking like, like oh maybe I'll like watch a little VOD of this before I play, him or her, you know,
Yeah.
him or her as in like, if I win or lose against Bonfire, I'll play different people later. So
Right.
just prepping for that. Um, and then I think the other thing is just like knowing that I've like put in the work, and I think I've like been very, um, I think I've been very hard on myself. That like obviously I still need to put in more work, but like I think that I'm not drawing enough confidence from like truly like the amount of work I've put into the game. And like this is what I have to show for it, and where it is where it's at, right? But I'm
Hmm.
like from the money matches at Hog, like I'm pretty confident in like my skill level for this tournament.
Yeah. I think you should be. Just
Yeah,
remember to eat well. remember remember
yeah,
the vigor path lessons.
I will. I
Um,
will.
Drink water and just understand what's in your control and what's not. And um, I don't know when it comes down to like in the moment. That's where I'm weakest because it always fluctuates with me. Um,
Yeah.
but I've learned to just do everything else. And I found that if you know a character, um, if you know you're gonna run into a certain character, just maybe find someone who plays that character beforehand and get practice. A lot of the top players seem to do that and makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
so it's not
Yeah.
it's not bad knowing who you're gonna play.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. And I want to like try like actually knowing who I'll play and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and seeing how it goes, because I think not wanting to do it is like sort of like a very ignorant way of like going about it, because it's like you're low key. I feel like low key you're like kind of running away from the challenge, and
Mm.
as we talked about like in the last time or like during our car ride up to Scorpius, like it's about rising up to the challenge of playing, and whether or not how I do in tournament, there's gonna be lots of players to play and lots of people to like practice with and improve on. So I think I really feel good about going into Genesis after thinking about it like a long time, and like ever since I got back from Hog, I think I've been feeling really solid with how I want to approach this major in particular.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think you'll do good. Are you teaming?
No, I'm not gonna team.
Okay.
I'm doing, but I'm doing pre-Genesis, so I have a tournament tomorrow.
Oh yeah, it's like a huge local, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a fucking nutty local, and then I have nothing Friday, so I can play. Just make sure, um, I can just play. Make sure that I, kind of not overdo it with my hands, and then Saturday.
That's I'm jealous. Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna be sitting around watching,
yeah,
not doing much else.
yeah. Oh, you know what's interesting? Just
Hmm.
to like wrap it up, is that I was thinking about it, and like I want to like look more into like the idea of performance anxiety, but like, and I even got like an audiobook about it. But like, funny enough, I tried listening to like the first chapter of it, and I'm like, this is not gonna help me before tournament.
No,
Like
that's
listening to an audiobook about performance anxiety is not gonna help you at all for
yeah.
Genesis.
It's past the point of learning a new skill. It's just listening to a podcast that makes you happy and makes you kind of forget what you're doing. You know, that's what
Yeah,
I
or
think.
something that like kind of just brings you to the present. I think the big thing is, um, yeah, I think the big thing is like not worrying about stuff. As you said, you can't control. Like
Right.
in the moment right now, what can I do? And it's not like I'm playing Bonfire right now or Triff or any of those players. Right? I'm just doing a podcast. I'm just prepping, and that's all it is. It doesn't. It's not an indicator.
Right. Just,
Yeah.
don't stress on the plane. Bring some media that brings you joy.
Yeah.
Maybe you go through new anime you wanted to watch, or something that you could kind of uh, knock out on the plane, or
Yeah. Exactly.
don't try to
Um.
overload. Don't feel like there's a, and this is kind of going. This is something I feel like you already know, but it's kind of just going out there into the sound waves. But
Mhm.
there's nothing you could do like 2 days before the tournament. There's no major skill you're gonna unlock with
Mhm.
48 hours of prep time. Really, it
No, I
becomes,
know.
yeah. It's just like, take a breath,
But it's this
go
weird
into it
feeling, right?
calm, and you know.
Yeah. And just get ready for it. And that's all I need to do is just get ready for it. And the funny thing is, it's like as you said, right? There's nothing I can do now, but I think you said you made like this really interesting point where what was it? What was it? I forget. But I guess it's pretty much just like, the work's been done already, right?
Right.
And it's about this idea of like, as I said, just being happy with the work you've done. And like actually that's where like I want to start kind of drawing my confidence more from
Hmm.
anything else. It's not from like wins or anything like that. And this is like still like new concept, so could go all wrong, this weekend. But like I think moving forward long term, like I don't appreciate like the smaller improvements I've been making. Um and acknowledging that I've done my best to prep for Genesis.
I would go as far as to say, as don't even think about the improvements you've made. Just let that kind of, just kind of dissolve into the ground through your feet, of
Mm,
of your whole ego,
interesting.
of everything that you feel that you are worth, or what you feel that
Mm.
you deserve through this tournament.
Oh,
Just
interesting.
let that kind of
Oh.
shake down your back. I
Mhm.
mean, that's
Well,
its
let
own
me
that's its own
rephrase
method.
it then.
Sure.
Let me rephrase it. It's not what I deserve or anything like that. I think I was watching a video. CLG, I don't know if you watched it, just released like their off-season video
Hmm.
where they showed like how and it's CLG, the league team, is now being coached by like Mind Games Weldon, the guy that I really like that I talked to you about a few podcasts ago.
Right.
And he talks about this idea of not wanting his players to be confident, but having them be competent, or like it's the idea of competence versus confidence, right?
Hmm.
And like confidence is like a very ego-driven thing. It's about how you feel. It's very um, like flip-flop, sort of like depending like on your day, right?
Hmm.
But then, um, but then uh if you're competent, that's something that you just know you are, right? That you're more competent, and that's, I guess, what I'm saying by like the work I put in. It's not that I'm asking, I think I deserve more, or I think that I'm like gonna do anything in this tournament. It's just more so knowing that I'm a more competent player
Right.
and than I was before, and I think I'm the most competent player that I can be right now
Right.
for myself.
Yeah, and I was more just talking like past you a little bit, just for the sake
Hmm.
of just
Just the general
just expanding,
public.
yeah, expanding
Yeah.
the thought of it, because I think it's always good to hear a bunch of different strategies, or a bunch of
Mm.
different mindsets for
Hmm.
how we go into tournament.
Yeah.
And it's all stuff that I'm still experimenting with, of, how do I possibly convince myself, how do I trick my subconscious into behaving for
Hmm.
this bracket. um and so it all comes down to experience, and I don't think I have enough yet to have an answer. But you know I'm excited for you. I think you're gonna do something great, and
Hmm.
I don't know what it is yet, but it's probably gonna it's probably gonna come from like money matching someone in the top 20 and beating them, or something crazy like that. I don't know. You unlock something in majors, and it's a little scary if I'm being honest.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And also, last thing, what's really cool is I just looked at pre-Genesis. It's at 381 attendance right now.
Jesus Christ.
It's a regional.
Yeah, that's a strong regional right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to skip the break and just keep talking? Is that cool?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Well,
No music. Boop.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
All right.
So I wanted to talk about Smashed Out, Super Smashed Out a little bit.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to look at your VODs, but yeah, let me hear about it.
So I won, which is pretty cool.
I
Um,
saw that over Smokey.
yeah. So it was really just I got a. I mean, no disrespect to all the other players, but I was seeded second, so I was seeded to beat everyone else, and then I got a chance to play Smokey, and I won from winners, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Me and Smokey have a not like a long history, but we've been playing ever since like the Encore series started. And I've generally had the advantage, but we haven't played in like
Mhm.
6 months. And so I was really scared because I've seen the stuff that he's been doing and just like how he's been playing. Um, and he's just been like just destroying people left and right, just absolutely terrifying. And so I kind of, I helped with the seeding, so I gave myself the second seed. I'm like, this guy is kicking ass lately. He deserves it. Which I think gave me an advantage because I think it brought the pressure off me.
Mhm.
And I think that's all it took to swing it in my favor, if I'm being completely honest. Because whenever we play, it's like so super close. Like, I don't know. Whenever we play, it's like it's crazy fun sets and down to the wire. But something about having that first seed off of me for this time, because
Mhm.
I think the last time we played, I was seated above him. It was just I don't know. I don't know. It was a lot of weirdness to it. How do you feel about that? Do you think that has any merit? Am I just making stuff up?
No, definitely think it is. I think anything like in terms of like that mentality or mental wise, and it could actually has some merit in it.
Right.
So I think it's the idea of eventually you'll be the first seed, maybe next time or maybe in like another event, and it's about more so. You made a really interesting observation, right? Like, why is being second seed easier than being first seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's that I think what would be more interesting would be like looking a little deeper into that, right? And trying to see like if there's a reason for it, or like where, you know, or if like it's just being first seed, right? And being like having a target on your back is like the difference.
Yeah, I think it kind of is like it is the thing, but I think there's more to it. There's more context to it that
Yeah, of
is a
course.
like for this particular instance, I just finished doing what I was really concerned about, which was the variety show.
Hmm.
I feel like I pulled like me and Barry pulled it off. Um, what we wanted it to be. I mean, it wasn't like a spectacular success or it didn't blow up Twitch. It wasn't anything like that, but we got through everything. We were under time. We had fun with it. The guests had fun. And that was the one thing I was really looking forward to with the event and what I was working on and
Hmm.
making videos for and all this craziness. So once that was done, I was like, all right, okay, sweet. Like I was just in such a good mood, and then I was just kind of excited to play the game. I just accomplished something and talked about melee like for an hour, and I was
Hmm.
just ready like to just play. And I think that was what really made me have a good tournament was the fact
Hmm.
that I was having so much fun with it, and a weight was just lifted off my shoulders. Um, and on Smokey's side, he's been having such a good run that I think he said afterwards, he's like, oh, I really wanted to win. Like, I think because he hasn't really had too many losses this season,
Hmm.
that there was even more of a target on his back. And I think just like because I'm sick, then it just ended up being
Hmm.
that like I won because we're I would say we're incredibly comparable in skill. So
Hmm.
it just can't. I think that's the crazy thing about this game, dude. It's like on any given day, there's so much else that gets pumped into the set that eventually you just have to be like, all right, man, like I'll get you next time. And I'm looking forward to playing him in the next set because I've seen him pop off a little more than he did. Um, and again, I don't even know if that's a disrespectful. Like I'm trying to give so much respect to this guy
I
because
think it's coming across.
yeah, like I'm happy. I'm really happy I won. That's what's coming down to. Um,
Yeah, because he's a very tough player.
yeah, he's insane.
Yeah.
And it was just such a good day. Like everyone, it wasn't a big bracket. I think like 16 people were there or something. Like it was a small bracket. Um, but it was just a good day.
That's awesome to hear, though.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And like, we talked about it, the variety show being the priority there,
Hmm.
So I think that definitely made a big deal. Like knowing that you did a good job in that probably like also led into it, right?
Right. I'm just trying to see if there's any way to recreate that feeling. Maybe I'll work on a video and then release it the day of a major or something like that, and be like,
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think there's a way to
Well,
artificially like recreate it. I think it just needs to
yeah.
come from you know hard work and
And just being excited to play, that's a big thing too.
huge.
I think also the idea that like you weren't like it wasn't on your mind even for like, beforehand. So it's about just like relaxing yourself and like finding not necessarily like distractions, but like you were just consistently like in the present moment,
Right.
right? And when it was time to play, you played, and when it was time to do the show, you did the show. Like, so like if you try to like simplify it in that, you might get an answer.
Right. Yeah. I think you're spot on. It's just being present and getting into because yeah, I wasn't thinking about the tournament when I was doing the show, and I was done thinking about the show when I was
When you
playing.
played the tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think I might have a good amount of success if I keep going to these tournaments after doing these shows. Like it might just unlock a little something. Like I just performed for an hour, I'm on that high, and then I have nothing to lose because I already did what I came to do. Like that
Hmm.
might be a perfect storm of just like having the best results in the world, like just start really killing it locally. Maybe not.
Yeah, of
Maybe,
course.
maybe I'm being superstitious after like literally one
Well,
good
as long as
tournament.
I think you don't have expectations.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
That's
I'm
why you want to like not associate it with like one thing, but like understand the core concept behind it, right?
right.
Yeah.
And it was also an upswing. Like I was
Yeah.
talking last time about like kind of feeling shitty and getting the winter blues a bit. Um
Hmm.
and the weather's still been cold. But I felt like I kind of jumped out of it a little. Like I feel way better. Um
Hmm.
and I still hate the cold. That's not
Yeah, of
that's not
course.
ever going to change, but um things are looking up.
Hmm.
And now I'm just trying to look forward to the next show. Um trying to like I have so much time, only so much time I should say, to prepare for it. So now I'm
Hmm.
trying to structure my time so that like I'm just trying to rebudget my time, I guess I should say, of
Hmm.
my morning routines and when I get home and have time for these podcasts and um all this stuff. I guess I really haven't, like I'm bullshitting right now. I haven't budgeted my time, but I think I need to. I think that's why I'm saying it.
Hmm.
I need to because it was kind of like a stop. Like
Hmm.
this was I wasn't looking past that day
Yeah.
I was just like, this needs to go well, and I was thinking about like, all right, let's run through it again. Do I have everything ready? And then once it was over, like the last couple days were just have been kind of like a blur. Realistically, like
Mhm.
I haven't been too concerned with my day to day things, and this weekend is kind of low key, just with like the Super Bowl
Mhm.
and watching Genesis and stuff like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just realized now that I gotta make sure I'm keeping my foot on the gas a little bit. That
Yeah, of course.
I'm not just kind of sitting here
Mhm.
enjoying it for too long. You know, I gotta. The only reason I got that feeling of accomplishment is because I worked hard leading up to it,
Mhm.
and so I gotta. That's how I recreate it. It's just making sure I'm busting my ass and practicing and creating.
Mhm.
So pretty much the same shit I say all the time, right?
Yeah, but I think, it's good to just always remind yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's always good. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. It sounds like you know what you need to do. You're at like 60% happiness about it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. For
It's a
sure.
weird feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. It's yeah. Sometimes I like just now I kind of like revved up the engine a little bit, so
Mhm.
I'm getting a little happy. I also had a glass of wine, maybe two.
Of course.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm in a cheerful mood. Um, but it's nice having these conversations to kind of really talk
Mhm.
about it because I haven't really talked about it. Like I
Mhm.
talked about it with my girlfriend, but again, like you need someone who understands the context of it, and it's hard to like I think other people who didn't understand it that I explained it to got more excited than they should have because
Mhm.
this wasn't like a big show. Like I talked to my dad about it. He's like, "Oh, so this is broadcasted worldwide." I'm like, "Oh my god." Like no, like technically it could be, but that's not the frame to look at it.
Yeah,
It
it's not
was
really
broadcast to
that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like 12 people. It's just that it was a thing that I wanted to do and I did. And now it's
Mhm.
like a new adventure kind of let's see how good this can get.
Mhm.
And that's the exciting part of Melee at all is playing it
Mhm.
and then thinking how good can I get at this and then going through that learning curve, you know? I don't know.
Mhm.
That was a bit of a rambling sesh, but
No, but I think it's just there's a lot of on our minds since we last talked. A lot has happened.
yeah, for sure. You didn't tell me about your. You just talked about Genesis. I want to hear about your last week and a half.
Last weekend I have besides like Genesis prep
Oh, you talked
and
about
Hog.
Hog. Yeah, you talked about Hog. Yeah, just
Um,
how you like your how's work? How's your day to day?
Work's been good. Work's been good. I took Monday off as like a sick day. I was feeling like I was like coming down with something, but like it was also a little bit just more. I both like because I actually was feeling a little sick yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
so but I think taking Monday off really helped, giving some time for myself to just have kind of digest everything.
Right.
Besides that, super fun seeing like everyone at Hog. Like, I want to just shout out, Sean or Stock Money for running honestly like one of the best tri-state events that I've like been to in a long time. It just really felt like an Apollo, like something like super grand but super chill, like in this like very like in this basement. Everything ran on time, everything was early, and then we all went to this like diner. I got this like steak clubs like triple decker
Oh my
sandwich, which
god.
was sick. Um, but dude, it was just so weird seeing like the people that you like first met when you started playing,
Right.
and that was what was really cool about it. So it felt just so grassroots, which I missed a lot.
Yeah.
Besides that, not much else has happened. I've been doing work, had my performance appraisal, it went pretty well, so I'm happy about that.
Great.
Um, so overall, really fun. Um, and I'm just excited for. this weekend. You know, I can't wait to play some melee and stuff.
Yeah, and then we'll have a lot to talk about afterwards too, um, because it's hard to it. It's kind of the same thing of how I felt, except on a much larger scale of what you're going to do. You know, you're going to one of the biggest majors. There's no real looking past it. It's all like Genesis. Like I can't imagine having anything else that's on your mind at the moment. Um,
Yeah.
Looking past it, and I think that's the best way to do it. Because what are you gonna do? Like you have something that I'm incredibly jealous, and so many other people who aren't going are very
Hmm.
jealous. So it would be unfair to have anything else on the mind, man.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting because also I'm like thinking about it, and like I'm just excited. Like the more I think about it, I'm just excited to play than anything else. Like I'm not really like looking at like the Genesis party or anything like that. You know, like oh, like I can watch the sets and stuff like that. Like you know me, I'm just gonna fiend out for like 5 days straight.
Would you? You should do a vlog. You should vlog while you're out there.
You think so?
Yeah, just like not even as a performative, thing for people to look at, just as a way for you to just just kind of talk through your stuff and whatever's on your mind. Um, and then you like just think of recording it and then deleting it later. But
That that
just
sounds fun. I'm
it's
down for it.
kind of just like a faster journaling.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried starting a vlog at one point, but then it just was hard to do it every day.
Yeah,
I called
yeah,
it Fiend Life.
fiend life. Yeah. Well, do a fiend
Yeah.
life. I really also, and maybe I'm giving you too much homework now, but I'm trying to live vicariously through you here. Um,
Or I'll send you the videos if you promise to watch them.
oh, absolutely.
All right.
I think you should also just oh my god. So
Oh my God, what is it?
what you should
Yeah, what's
do,
up?
make sure,
Yeah.
and I want to try this out because I think it's going to be very useful. But if you every time you play friendly with someone, make sure you get them to you follow each other on Twitter. Make that a number one priority, and then send them a DM later because I think that's
Interesting.
the best way to make friends. And it sounds like I'm being a little it's kind of dumb.
You sound like my mom.
It's kind of dumb. I know. And as I said it, I'm like, this isn't anything spectacular, but I want to see if it works. And I, because I've been giving that advice, I gave that advice on the Melee Stats podcast. I gave it um, on the Tri-State Ultimate podcast. So now I'm giving it here,
Okay.
and
I
you
will
get to be the
think about it
yeah,
and let you know.
you get to be the guinea pig. Just like, hey, we should keep in touch. Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
don't say we should keep in touch. I don't know. I'm gonna stop pitching this now
yeah. All right.
because you play so many
Um,
friendlies. You're gonna get like 80 followers,
Dude, that's true.
and then
I
you send
mean,
them
normally
you send
it
them a
ends up
DM
happening.
later. And you're like, hey, and you don't have to be lying. You could just be like, hey, it was really nice meeting you. Those were good games. Hope you enjoyed
Yeah.
the tournament. And then you see them like you just make that one extra connection, and then you see them at another major, and then you just like pop off and you get really excited. You're like, hey man, and then you have more friends. I don't know.
All right, or
I don't know. Never mind.
no worries.
Delete your Twitter. Actually, do the opposite.
Yeah, I'll just delete the Twitter. Uh,
I'm just trying. I wish I could go to Genesis. That's all I'm trying to say.
we can go. We should do. There's a lot of big events coming up actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's Gang at the start of March. There's Pound at the end of March, which I can't go to. Or no, April, I think. Let me check.
I can't. Well, I
Can't
got
do Pound.
I got into the last improv class. I got
Oh,
into 401
awesome.
improv. Yeah. So I already have to miss one of those classes for full bloom.
Okay.
So until that's over, I
When
can't really hit
so
the two
you're
days.
out of commission till when?
Not necessarily. I'm out of commission for like majors or outside regionals. I'm going to be going to all the Super Smashed Outs for the
Got
next,
it.
4 months or five
Cool.
months.
Yeah, because the gang is March 9th. It's just a 1 day.
That's in Philly, right?
Philly, Swarthmore, but yeah, close to Philly. And then um, I'm not going to Pound, so and then I'll do CT GamerCon probably after the gang. I know I can't do Full Bloom because Full Bloom is
A
I
flight.
think close to when I leave for the Philippines.
Okay. All right.
Let me check when Full Bloom is.
Yeah, I think we talked about this already. That's okay.
Yeah, I think we did.
Oh,
What sucks is I'm gonna miss. I don't want to do. I can't do Gommel also
but
because that's like 2 weeks after I get back from the Philippines.
that's two
That might be
weeks
too soon.
after?
Yeah,
Why is that too soon? It's 2 weeks.
I guess I'll consider Gommel. Wait. Oh, Full Bloom is. Oh, interesting. Full Bloom is. Do I not have anything that weekend?
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Let me check my calendar. Uh, but while I'm doing that, well, I was thinking of doing CT GamerCon that same weekend, so I'm on the fence about Full Bloom still.
All right, we could decide this off mic. um,
Well, I think people care,
I
but
think
probably not.
everyone wants us to figure this out just on the spot.
Okay, but shout outs. I think there's just one clear shout out this week.
Whom?
The only New Yorker in SoCal right now.
I know. He gets another one, doesn't he?
He gets another one.
Oh my god, his bracket was so crazy. All right, we're talking about
Okay,
IBDW.
well, for those that don't know, but if you don't know, you're living under a rock. Cody fucking Schwab's IBDW killed it at the fight for SoCal 2. I'll mind you on a spare controller because he was using my spare controller.
Are you serious?
He like moved it around, like did some stuff so that like it like was a little more like his. Like I think no, well he was using my motherboard, but it's UCF, so it doesn't matter.
I'm so
Another
confused.
great reason why UCF is sick. But I don't know if he like got his notches fixed because I know only some of his Firefox angles worked. Last check, but dude, his bracket was so fucking sick.
He beat Westballs, Army, Fiction,
Shroomed, and SFAT.
Shroomed. Oh my god, didn't he 3-0 Shroomed?
He 3-2'd Westballs, 3-0'd Shroom, 3-0'd Army, 3-1 Fiction, 3-2'd SFAT, lost 2-3 to SFAT.
Oh my god. Imagine he won. He was a game away from winning.
Yeah, I know.
From straight up winning. Oh my god. So he's a monster. Already outdated on the what is he like?
On the PR,
28,
yeah.
26?
Yeah, he was like no, he was 34, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
really outdated.
It's a terrible seating now. So he's like one of the best players in the world now, like guaranteed. Like
yeah, I mean he's up there.
He's got to be. There, yeah. He's definitely top 30. He's beaten.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, I can't even.
I mean, if you make that run consistently, yeah. But I think it was really interesting because he tweeted about his, how he handled tournament. Because I don't know if you watch any of the VODs, but he was so emotional during all of the sets.
Yeah.
In terms of like, he was very much like showing his emotions as he was playing.
Yeah,
he's like he was having a blast.
Like slamming his knee after he beat the SFAT the first set, just like
he popped off.
Crazy pop off. Yeah, well, no, you say it. I was gonna say what he tweeted, but you say it.
I mean, he was just tweeting about how he handled because he gets some anxiety too when he plays, and how he thought more about like it's just so animated where he thought about like more of like the joy and idea of like winning and like how much fun he was having than like the downside of it,
right?
Avoid risk, and really good for him that he like tried something new and it really worked out.
Yeah, he said he gets more animated the more nervous he gets, and he was actually close to having a panic attack, but he fought through it. Like he felt it coming on and then just kind of got the energy out and then continued playing well, which is spectacular.
Yeah, better than saying like he fought through it. It was more like he like accepted it, right? And like sort of like redirected that energy into like into something more productive.
All right, yeah. Well, whatever the case,
Yeah, killed it.
he killed it. And
Yeah,
Cody, you are doing great things. You don't need us to tell you that.
yeah,
And we're gonna get to see him at Genesis. And, dude, at this rate, he's gonna get top 8. You know?
yeah. I mean, it's a possibility. He's at that level now.
He absolutely is.
Yeah,
Um,
and then
a good shout
I
out.
think, yeah, that's a shout out. I wish there like I did that came out of nowhere. Like he's the clear shout out, but there were 2 other players that like did stellar this weekend too.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Mentioned both.
Do you think
Whatever.
we should?
If
I
you,
mean, I think we're a one shout out sort of podcast, right?
yeah. So if you want to do 3 without consulting me, then do what you want, Mr. Genesis.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just saying it was tough competition and he blew it out of the water.
All right. Fine. Don't mention the other 2. But
Yeah.
don't pin it on me if they both call you out for
Whatever.
being withholding.
All right, are you just asking me to say it now?
No,
you're,
don't.
You're just nagging me.
Well, we have to wrap it up. That's what I'm trying to say. I am sleepy.
All right.
It is 10:30. It's way past my bedtime.
My laundry's done.
Oh yeah, I heard your alarm go off.
Yeah. Laundry's done. Got to pack now.
Yeah, man. Well, that conversation kind of breezed by. That was a quick 55 minutes.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Thanks for everyone that's listening, and follow us on Twitter, follow us on our podcast channel, SSB_Wannabes, and I'll post when this is up. I'll also post our last podcast because I realized I forgot to post that.
Yep.
So my bad on that.
Don't worry about it. Thank you
All right.
guys for listening. Will, thank you for your company.
JD, you too.
And I'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
All right. See ya.
See ya.